So if you decide that you want to try and make soap, I am strongly going to recommend that you take a class, you watch extra videos, and that you get a book. Now I have several soap making books, and I find this one the best because it offers the best pictures and is the most simplistic form of making soap. So I'm going to go a little bit over the book and show you some of the things I'm talking about. So here, on these pictures here, they're talking about the kind of containers that you can use. I use just strong plastic containers, and I got all my stuff from the thrift store. Don't go out and spend a lot of money on supplies. A lot of stuff you can get right from the thrift store. So you have also here, there's a coffee grinder. That's because when I used the oatmeal, I had got the oatmeal from the store. I put it in the coffee grinder, grind it to a fine powder. And that's what that's for. You can also put other things in there. And here is the thermometer. I don't really like that thermometer because it takes too long. You saw how quickly I was just able to use this one here. So I got this one, I think, online. They might have it at Home Depot or Lowe's, but I got it on Amazon. All right, so over here is the picture of the scale that you're going to use. I find that I preferred my scale, and I'll just come over here and show you my scale. Yeah, so I like this scale because I think it holds up to 15 pounds. It has grams, it has ounces, it has a tare button, and I like it a lot. And I think I got this one also on Amazon. They have it in a soap store, but for you, I think they would have it on Amazon. So let's go back to the book. Okay, so here you see that they have a hand mixer. Let me tell you where you have to be careful of the hand mixer. That hand mixer is all in one piece, and the problem I have with that is that if you're mixing your lye, say for instance, let me focus on over here. So you have your one piece, and you got your lye in there, and then the thing just falls over because of the weight of the base. So if you get one that has this button over here where the bottom comes up, and that's just for your safety, so that way you don't have to worry about the lye splashing, which you will do, and which I've had happen, which is why I switched to the one that has the separate handle. That you may not be able to find in the thrift store. That you may have to go out and buy. So here they're talking about utensils that you can use. I do use plastic. I don't use any kind of metal or aluminum because it can react with the sodium hydroxide. You can use a wooden stirrer, but just know that over time the wood is going to get eaten up by the sodium hydroxide. Over here is a regular potato peeler, and that is to clean the soap, and we will talk about what that means to clean the soap later. Once we get to the point where I do that, then I will show you. This here is just a soap cutter. I found that you can actually get that from Bed Bath & Beyond in the bakery section. If not, that's also available in separate soap stores, and I think that's also online. This is a picture of the gear that you need when using lye. You see it's got glasses, mask because of the fumes, gloves, apron. Apron you don't necessarily have to have, but long sleeve shirts you do have to have. This is just showing you all the different kind of oils. Let me see that you can use. You can actually use Crisco, but I just stuck with the ones that, most of us that make our own items that we usually have. And over here is the picture of the butters, cocoa butter, shea butter. You can use those also, but most of us already have the coconut oil, shea butter, castor oil. And then over here is a picture of the distilled water. It doesn't have to be this brand. Distilled water is pretty cheap. I think it's maybe $1, and I'm in California, under $1.50. So here is a picture of her all dressed to mix the lye. You see she's got the gloves on, the long sleeve shirt, the apron, which I said you don't have to have, the mask, and the goggles. So you saw when I was pouring the lye, I did have a long sleeve shirt on, and I did have gloves on. I had gloves on one hand because I was using the other one to mess with the camera. So so we're going to talk about the oils and why you cannot vary the recipe. So on this page, it talks about the SAP value, which is the saponification value chart. And what that means is that each oil is almost like a fingerprint. It has its own fingerprint, its own molecular structure, and it takes a certain amount of oil to turn that particular oil into soap. So the recipe I gave you, I had to do some mathematical calculations. You cannot alter the recipe, so please don't say, well, can I use vegetable glycerin instead of castor oil? The answer is going to be no. Each oil is very specific. Each butter is very specific. Actually, you can actually use Crisco. Even Crisco has its own SAP value. Fortunately, the SAP values are all online. You can find them at brambleberry.com or some other soap making websites, or you can just type in SAP value, and a lot of times you will find a chart. It will tell you, some websites actually have a lye calculator, and they will calculate out the lye versus the water versus the sodium hydroxide and the oils. So here, let me see if I can zoom into what's known as, sometimes you'll hear the term called superfatting. That's just another way of calling it a fudge factor. So say, for instance, you do your mathematical calculations and it says for this one, for 5 ounces of oil, you need 1 ounce of lye. So if you do that, then your measurements have to be exact. So what some people do, which is known as a lye discount, where instead of using the 1 ounce, maybe I'll use 0.7, so that gives you a little fudge factor. So say, for instance, if I'm supposed to put in 1 ounce of sodium hydroxide and I put in 1.05, then I'm okay, because I'm already using only 97% of what I'm supposed to be using, but even then I still don't go over. So what happens, your soap may be a little bit softer, but you will not have to worry about it having too much lye, which you cannot use the soap because it will burn your skin. So some people use 5%. I like 3%. I find 5% just makes too much, makes it too soft. Okay, here is a picture of the mold that she used. This woman here used a wooden mold with a liner. I don't like using the liner. You have to fold up the wax paper or the freezer paper a certain kind of way. I don't like it. This is the mold that I use. I got this from Brambleberry. It holds 20 ounces, so if you want to know why I had to use the amounts that I had to do, part of it was configuring for it to fit in the 20-ounce mold plus the lye-water ratio. So I like this because it pops out very easily and it gives it a nice finish.